Hello and welcome to Bright Wings, children's books to make the heart soar. I am your host, Charity Hill. The purpose of this conversation is to help mothers and fathers identify books that will liberate their children to embrace truth, goodness, and beauty. Hello, and welcome back to Bright Wings. I thought I would tell you what I've been doing since June and give you an idea about the future of Bright Wings children's books. So, since June, what have I been up to? So my son went to a couple of soccer camps. My daughter went to probably 3 different music-related camps. She said to me, "Mama, it's like you're making up for not doing anything for me all year." And all I could think to myself humbly was, yes, my darling, you're right. She had a great summer. Our 12-year-old daughter was lucky enough to fly to Colorado with her Nana and help look after her cousins. So that was definitely a maturing experience for her. Really, really good. And our eldest, who's 15, she's been getting some driving lessons. And then the other part of my summer with her was coordinating, or in this case, trying to let her coordinate her own work schedule because she had kind of a job and a half this summer. So that was June and July. Also in June, I wrote the family supplement for Well-Read Moms. So this is actually the 5th year that I've written the family supplement. I guess the first year I kind of contributed in a big way to the work done by Allison Solove. But yeah, in June, I wrote the entire family supplement for the 2024/2025 Well-Read Mom year. Very exciting. Just some great reads on there for your kids that are going to correspond with whatever you're reading as women. I got a chance to put some great books on there that I've been wanting to propose to your family for a while. My family also drove out to North Carolina to meet up with the extended family of the Hills, my husband's siblings and his parents. Beautiful time with those siblings and nephews and nieces. Beautiful place. After that, we went and toured in Washington, D.C. and stayed with some friends. I mean, these people are amazing. They have a bunch of kids and we stayed with them, but it was like they made it seem so beautiful and easy to host us that we're likely to impose on them again in the future. Just such beautiful people. Great coffee, praise and worship, music in the morning on the guitar, and country music in the evening. Just such a great family. We got to go to all the museums in DC, which are free the way museums should be. Got to look at all the monuments on the 4th of July. Just such a great time. You know, because my husband and I lived there when we were first married, it was wonderful to show our children so much of the place where our marriage first began, as well as just explore some of the history and some of those national treasures. After that, we went to Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg. It's my idea of Disneyland. It was, our accommodations were just the right price, and their interpreters, who are dressed in period costuming and period fabrics and period weaves, actually know more about the historical elements than I do. You know what I'm saying? You people out there who care about these kind of things, sometimes you care and you know more, and you want to be taught. You want to learn something you don't know. I really enjoyed hearing a talk by a woman portraying Martha Washington. We got a tour of the governor's house. We saw a man working a printing press with movable type, someone working on making a pair of leather trousers. The gardens were fascinating. I got to be a councilman and help judge some crimes that had committed in Colonial Williamsburg. My family really enjoyed the fife and drums. My only regret is that we didn't stay longer. I would have liked to been able to stay one more day or one more evening so that we could watch a cobbler work on shoes. And maybe we would have enjoyed watching somebody being tried for piracy. Unfortunately, I'm not getting paid for this advertisement for Colonial Williamsburg, so I better stop. But all that to say, American history is kind of concentrated out on the East Coast. So try to appreciate it and live it up for the rest of us, everybody who lives out there. We're so glad that we got to go to Williamsburg. It's something I've always wanted to do. And I thought, if we don't do this when we are out there this summer, I don't know if my family's ever going to make it there, if we're ever going to make it back out. So happy that we did this. Kept driving south, stayed with friends in Baton Rouge. Some of the funniest people on the planet. They have 2 speeds, serious and spectacularly funny. So we were so blessed this summer as a family to have so many meaningful activities to do together and consider together, and so much conviviality with our friends and family. So thank you to all the people that we imposed upon. If we didn't impose upon you, we would not have the opportunity to delight in you. So thank you. Thanks for keeping friendship alive. Now, after that gigantic road trip, I was home about a week, and then I flew to Pennsylvania to attend the marvelous and wonderful National Conference for the Institute for Catholic Liberal Education. It's known as ICLE, Institute for Catholic Liberal Education. And what they do is they're an organization that helps Catholic schools transition their curriculum from regular to classical. They help them figure out everything from how to change the content of the school, so what kind of curriculum to use, as well as how to change the method so that it's a classical method. And so they offer teacher training, they offer administration training, they offer parent and community education to help communicate that this school is going in a different direction and what that direction is, and why switching from regular to classical is truly a winsome and powerful education decision. Yeah, so like I was saying, ICLE was hosting this great conference in Pittsburgh as a kind of teacher training to immerse teachers and administrators in the vision of classical education, as well as to communicate very practical classroom ideas about how to educate in a classical way. So ICLE is a major organization shaping the conversation about classical education. I was really honored because they asked me to lead 2 different breakout sessions. And both these talks are built out of my great love for children's literature, how I think it's really literature and it really matters. The first one is called How Literature Educates: The Impact of Fiction on an Integrated, Virtuous Life. And the second one is called Selecting Books for Your Curriculum and Classroom Shelves: How to Know if It's True, Good, and Beautiful, and How to Talk About It. Such a great deal of fun, so much joy to talk to a room full of 40 people who care about books and children and literature as much as I do. If I get the chance, I'm going to record both of those talks for you because I put so much time and thoughtfulness into them, and I just enjoyed speaking on these topics so much. I also received permission from ICLE to do this. So if I can, I will record those talks and allow you as my podcast listeners to get a taste for this other aspect of the work that I do, and this other aspect of my life, and the thoughts that I think, and the mission that I care about. All right. So what else did I do over my summer break, right? Well, I finally got to, I always feel like summer isn't complete, or it's every summer, one of the things on my bucket list is to go to a Shakespeare play. So I was actually able to do it this summer. We all got to go and see that Scottish play, that is Macbeth. We saw it in Houston at their Shakespeare Festival, and it was awesome. Awesome. I have never seen it done so well, in which Lady Macbeth, you know, how she starts out particularly bad and then she sort of tapers. Macbeth himself starts out not as bad and grows in evil through the play. They did this so well. Whenever deeds of violence or oaths to be filled with violence were being spoken on the stage, the Weird Sisters would come out, kind of representing evil. Very powerful. Ahead of the play, you might be interested to know, I read my children the picture book Macbeth version by Bruce Coville. It's illustrated by Gary Kelly. If you want to know more about picture book versions of Shakespeare's plays, I do have a podcast exactly on that topic. It came out about a year ago. But all that to say, it was such a great idea to read this picture book ahead of time. It really helped everybody understand the action of the play, the big themes. It truly enhanced and didn't diminish the experience of seeing it. I will say Macbeth is not a play for really little kids. It's really intense, especially when it's done well, when it's done right. So, but I do think the intensity was mitigated for my children. You know, my youngest are 9 and then 12. And I think the intensity was mitigated precisely because it was getting so late at night. They didn't care and they weren't absorbing everything that was going on with complete clarity or anything. And I think I would rather them confront evil and see it represented kind of for what it is, right? So really enjoyed Macbeth. All right, so you might be wondering, what's next? What's next for you, Charity? What's next for Bright Wings Children's Books? Well, first, I need to drop a bomb. It is this. I have taken a job teaching 11th grade. I'm teaching literature and history. It's a combined class that runs for 2 periods. We're reading 11 separate pieces of literature, seminar style. So we'll read and then we will discuss together. And then the history portion is on the High Middle Ages. I'm very excited about that. So let me just fill you in on what we're reading. We're reading the Aeneid by Virgil. Then we're reading the Oresteia by Aeschylus. We're reading some of Thucydides. Don't try to say Thucydides after you've had a margarita. Just don't, okay? So some Thucydides, some of the Republic, the Gospel of John as literature, some of the Nicomachean Ethics. We're reading Richard II by Shakespeare, Henry V, again by Shakespeare. We're reading Augustine's Confessions. We're reading Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. We're reading a selection from Aquinas, and we're reading Joseph Pieper's Happiness and Contemplation, and then Turgenev's Fathers and Sons. I know, it's enough to make a grad student tremble, isn't it? Reading such rich and intense texts could be terrifying, but if there is one thing I know at this point in my life, it is something that Well-Read Mom taught me, which is that I can do more with a community. We read more when we read together. We walk farther when we walk together. We'll read things together that we never would have been brave enough to read on our own. And these lucky kids get to start as 11th graders. Yesterday was my first day of school, and today was my second first day of school. And I have to tell you, these 11th graders, they're amazing. We just had an amazing conversation on book 1 of the Aeneid. So why am I doing this? I know. Well, I love what we're reading, and I really need community. To be frank, it's hard to experience reciprocity as a podcaster. That's why it was such a joy to go to the ICLE conference, is there was just so much reciprocity, so much goodwill conversations about things that really mattered. People who took children's literature and literature seriously. I experienced such a strong degree of understanding and comradeship and friendship, really. And I just really thrive on human connection, right? I mean, hopefully by this point you have some sense that I am a raging extrovert, and that like it's both a gift and it's like a kind of poverty. Like I really need people. And so I both want a community of younger readers that I can help lead and point to the good stuff. They say teaching is the art of assisting discovery. I just love that. So I'm very excited about that part of teaching. And I'm also very excited about having colleagues, people who I'm working together with to do something beautiful. Other teachers with whom I share a mission. And I definitely am going to be growing in this role. I have not done this before, and I need coaching, and I need to get better at it. And I'm looking forward to being challenged. I'm also not looking forward to being challenged, honestly, but I am looking forward to growing. It's hard to do things that I'm not already good at. It's hard to do things that I don't already know how to do. I think we all struggle with that, but I have noticed that in myself in these weeks leading up to teaching. So what is to become of Bright Wings Children's Books to make the heart soar? Well, I plan on continuing as best as I can. That is what I wanted to tell you. I want to be totally transparent about where I've been and where I'm going and what I hope to do for you still. I still hope to continue giving you podcasts. I really would love to hear from you, though. I would love to hear what you would like. Would you like more picture book podcasts? Is that something that you need? Or do you feel pretty competent at picture books? Is it middle grade fiction that you need? My guess is yes, because middle grade fiction is a novel that you don't have time to sit and read. And I don't either, only I find myself squeezing in pleasure reading nevertheless, even with these gigantic books sitting on my lap. I have found myself reading Agatha Christie, Poirot, novels, along with the Aeneid. Call me weird. Then again, oops, those were books falling off my lap. Then again, could I just podcast to you about what we're reading? Would that be interesting and exciting? I think it might be. So I would love to hear from you. If you want to shoot me an email at brightwingschildrensbooks@gmail.com, if it's just 3 sentences, hey, Charity, this is what I would love to hear more about. That'd be great. Hey, Charity, I would love to read along with you some of these books you're reading with your 11th graders. I'm 37 years old. I've never read the Aeneid, but maybe I could read it with you and your 11th graders. That would be fun. So I want to communicate clearly with you about what I've been up to and where I'm going. I have worked so long and so thoughtfully on this podcast, and I care so much about your kids and the quiet power that books have on their lives. One of my friends and listeners said that her son is like really sporty, very athletic, high energy, ADHD kid, but also a voracious reader. He read 20 books off of the list for Stories for Strong Boys. That is why I do this, and I don't want to stop. I've kind of just laid out all the factors before you so that you can understand what is happening at my end of the microphone. This is not goodbye. This is just, let's see what happens next.